Juventini, and welcome to episode 100 of the All JuveCast. Thank you, everybody, for the support. It's been fantastic, and here's to 100,000 more. But in typical Juve fashion, we like to make things a little hard for ourselves, and they like to make this 100th episode a little harder for me. Because we had a slip up in a trap game versus Milan. Had an opportunity to further pad that lead after Lecce doing us a solid, but unfortunately we couldn't capitalize. But we're gonna recap everything with that match. Look ahead to some future matches, but I'm very, very excited still to do this 100th episode. I always love doing these, and I especially love having Juventini on for their first time. And I've got Rob with me today, join me for his first session on the All JuveCast, and I couldn't be happier. Rob, it's awesome to finally meet you, and thanks for joining me, man.
Thanks, man. Nice to meet you. Congratulations. 100 episode, big milestone. Well done.
You betcha. And let's get right into it and see what goes on. But real quick, tradition is always finding out how fans have became Juventini, and I'd love to hear your story and how you became a fan of Juve.
Yeah, cool. Basic story, man, pretty simple with a twist. So, nato Juventino, my dad was a Juve supporter. A lot of my family are Juventus supporters. My dad migrated here. But a twist to that is we have a team in Adelaide called Adelaide City. And back then, they were Adelaide City Juventus. So I grew up going to these games with my dad. And it was like the Italian community. We have a lot of, we have Italian and Greek communities. So a lot of Italians going to these games. And they were just like Juve, man. Italians chanting Juve songs. So you kind of got drawn in. And then, just from there, watching games with the old boy. That's pretty much it.
Nice. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Let's get to Juve Milan now. Let's go with the starting lineups. So the starting lineups, I thought pretty standard. We know we had Dybala out, suspension. Matthias de Ligt out with suspension. So at the back, Szczesny, with Cuadrado and Danilo opposite on fullbacks, and then Bonucci and Rugani in the middle at center back. Middle of the park, Rabiot, Pjanic, and Bentancur, and then up top, Bernardeschi, Higuain, and Ronaldo. Really, I thought it is what it is. There's nothing else we could have really done. You could maybe change the midfield around, but it should have been good enough for Milan, especially to start the match. Ramsey's still questionable about how many minutes he can handle. Rabiot's been on a good string of performances. Bernardeschi's been good to occupy that wing to start a match and have Costa come in as a sub. So I saw nothing wrong with it. Higuain, obviously, he's our only other option with the ball out there. So somebody's got to play center forward. Ronaldo is not as effective there and has been vocal about being left. So it is what it is. It wasn't even a matter of, do you like this lineup or not? It just seemed like it's what we got to do. So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. There wasn't no surprises, not a lot of options. Not options left, unfortunately, with the injuries that we have. And suspensions, they're the cards we have, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't really think you could put anyone else better in a position, really.
Yeah, pretty much. So prediction-wise, I thought because Milan played us well for a while now, we struggled to get goals. We didn't get a goal in them when we had a one-man advantage for 75 minutes in the Coppa Italia. So I figured it'd be a bit of a grind. I called Juve winning 2-1. What was your thought process in that? What was your prediction? What did you think it would finish?
Thought process, I was talking to a couple of mates about it. So I wasn't that confident. I just felt Milan were on a run. even though they had that little blip in the week with who did they lose to or draw with Lecce, I think it was. I don't know. I just felt something wasn't right with this game. Plus the suspensions felt a bit unbalanced. I didn't think we'd lose, but I wasn't 100% convinced that we'd win. So I was probably in the middle, maybe a draw or maybe a close win. 1 or 2 goals.
Yeah.
Definitely going to go down the way it did. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there was the thing that this was essentially going to be a trap game. You have Milan, who's been in pretty good form since coming back under Pioli there. He's doing good things. They had a big win against Lazio, and they're coming into this one. It is at their stadium. Granted, there's no fans there, but they play us well too, and they can sit back on that feeling of holding us with 10 men in the last outing and causing some issues for us. And on the other hand, we have Juve, who's coming off that derby there. And I called it, I got some heat for it too, but I said it was a great result, but not a great performance. Because I think you can have flattering score lines. And I thought that's what it was against Torino. I said, I felt we were allowing Torino far too much. And if the team had a bit more bite, we could have been punished. We weren't. And I felt like we took the game over when Torino completely lost the plot as far as midfield and defense goes. And we had acres of space, right? So I felt it was like a misleading match for us going into this, and that this could be a trap, but I still never anticipated a defeat. I thought like it would be
that one anyway.
Yeah, so let's get to the match. I mean, we kick off. Juve looks good from the get-go. Pretty good energy. 9th minute in, we win a free kick, and Bernardeschi puts in an incredible dead ball, like just a beauty in swinger. And Bonucci, I have no idea how that doesn't get finished. It looked like he didn't even really get contact. He maybe got a bit, but that's got to go in. Like he's got to get to that.
Got to get to that. The slightest touch, and that's in.
That ball was like on a platter to him. It was an incredible ball by Bernardeschi. We get going, 13th minute. Ronaldo comes in, has a good crack. It goes off Conti's foot, still almost gets into the far post, but it's promising. It's looking good. 40 seconds later, Rabiot makes a nice little step through, has a quick hit. It sails, gets away from him. But again, I like just what he's shown, that he's willing now to start having these hits from outside the area. And more of our players are starting to do that. So it was good. It was a promising start 15 minutes in. From there on, that whole half, it just seemed like there was not a whole bunch from either team. It looked like players were focused, but almost like, passing was a little off and whatnot. But Juve was still in control. We were still in control of this thing. I felt like we were more likely to score, but there wasn't a whole bunch of opportunities either way, really. A couple of weak shots here and there, even from Milan. Ibrahimovic having shots blocked and kind of rolling to Szczesny. And then, Juve, nothing crazy. It took till the stoppage time in the first half for us to get a nice passing sequence that wrapped up with Higuain. Unfortunately, the ball just rolling a little too far past him to make a really good quality shot, and it ricocheted off the defender to Donnarumma. But just a tight first half, not a lot of space, and the passing wasn't up where it needed to be. But, the guys were focused, and I still felt like we were more likely to break this game open because we were in control and looked the better of the two sides, control and play. What was your thoughts on that first half? It seemed a little sluggish, but we still seemed in control for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I thought we were in control. The passing, from that point on, it was sluggish. I think the issue probably comes from not having that delete, or even Kalini does it too, where that as a defender, they'll push the ball on, they'll move that ball forward, which then pushes everyone and gets things moving. Rugani and Bonucci just sort of get the ball and look up, flick it wide, comes back, across. I think we lack that drive to push on to Milan. But yeah, there was that first half was pretty good. I thought Burner was pretty good in that first half running. All up though, not a lot happened, But I felt like we were in control. I didn't feel like we were going to concede at any point, or I wasn't concerned at that point of the match.
Yeah, I felt really like we contained Milan perfectly. Like I thought there was nothing there, and we just need to click offensively and just find a couple here. And then we get to the start of the second half, and holy shit, it was exactly what we needed. Rabiot wins the ball on what was actually a brutal pass from Cuadrado, because he had no business even putting that there. But Rabiot ends up fighting for it, winning it. He then megs Hernandez there, starts cruising up the pitch. Slow motion, it seems like. Hair blowing in the wind as he's moving up. And I'm like, holy Rabiot right now. He's on one. And Higuain makes that run that, these guys need to make. I talk about it all the time, and we have some guys that attack space very well. They know where to go to take their defenders out. Huge run from Higuain. Takes his defender right out of the question. Allows Rabiot to then cut in because his defender believed that center back was still there, and Higuain took him right out. And then the shot was just perfect. Absolutely spectacular goal for 1-0. And Rabiot deserves it over these last few matches and how good he's been. So it was awesome to see that.
Yeah. No, he's been peppering the goals. So it's good to see him finally back in.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see for him and great to see for us. 1-0. 6 minutes later, Romagnoli and Conte make a mess of a aerial ball from Cuadrado. Ronaldo even duffs this shot, and he grounds it, and still manages to beat Donnarumma. 2-0 scoreline. We're laughing at this point. Like, guys, we've controlled this game. Milan hasn't got a sniff. It's 2-0. Let's see it out. Maybe try and get another one. Like, is what it is. But we're Juventini, and we know that's not going to be the case. It just never is. Never going to be that easy. 61st minute, and looks like a nothing play, but the play doesn't resume. Ball goes out of bounds for what you think is probably going to be a corner kick or whatnot. And then Bonucci, they're reviewing this. Now, I've heard people on both sides. I myself am a little bit on the edge on this one for a call with this handball. Yes, Bonucci stuck his arm out, but if I watch, it almost looks like he's more trying to brace for contact, with the guy coming in. And then it looks like he's trying to brace for contact, but then it looks like he's bringing it back in. And it's such a bang play, and Rebic is right there, and it hits his chest and then the hand and I go, what is he really going to do? Has he made his body that much bigger when he's bracing for contact, just bring it in? It's a really iffy one. I don't think it's as clear cut as a lot of people made, saying, yeah, that's a penalty. And I don't think it's as clean as just, no, absolutely not. It's one of these ones that falls right in between the rules, because one part of the rule is, if you're making your body bigger, and it's an unnatural position, which I think this is a natural position, when you're playing defensive. It's not like he's got his arm way out or anything, and he didn't extend it to the guy. He put it out, but he was still kind of chicken winging it, It was like a chicken wing for contact. I don't really know. And then another part of the rule is, if it should deflect off your body or the opposition, especially in a tight space, that you wouldn't be called. So that's why I say this falls right in between the two rules, and it's not so easy. But what was your thought on that? Is it or is it not? I think it's right 50-50 there.
Today, it's a penalty. That's when I see it. I have this discussion a lot with my mates here. The penalty rule is shit to me. It actually shits me right off, right? Because it's meant to be a clear line now. Like, you see the Inter one, right? Who was that against Inter? I'm trying to think now. Inter Parma game. Anyway, I watched that, and he's trying to draw the arm back. It's behind him, but it's sticking that far out from his body. So he's made his body wide. There's just too many questionable penalties in general for me. But this one, I see it, I go, he's going to call it. It's a pen. But I think he's bracing. He's looking for Rebic to come in, and I think he's expecting him to come in a lot harder than he did. So he sort of, to me, it looked like he's going to brace for the impact, and his arm's out, and it's away. So, yeah, I get why there's this borderline, but I found so many calls this year, because me and my mates watch all the games, you know. We've argued more about penalties this year than I have in my entire life. In 20, 30 years watching soccer, you know. So it's a tough call, but they can go either way. I think there's no intention for the ball, but it's there.
Yeah.
Tough.
It's a tough one, and that's the thing. That's why I say this one's so iffy. You know, I had a strong feeling he was gonna call it.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that, again, we fall between the lines of the rules so much now, just like you spoke to. It's ridiculous. It needs to just be like far more clearly defined and get rid of this gray area. It's crazy to me.
But I read a stat today that the amount of penalty kicks is up, a huge amount of percentage, but 30% of this massive percentage that's up is all handballs. So the handball call has gone completely out of control since VAR started.
Yeah.
This year it's escalated to an unbelievable level. So they've seen it in Spain, not so much in England. So it's interesting. I guess it just comes down to interpretation from the ref. That's where the issue is.
Yeah. Or when they go to review, the guy can't see the fucking screen because of the sun.
Oh, let's not talk about it. Let's not go there.
So
have we ever got that much time, have we?
Yeah. So
that's a conspiracy, mate. We're Juve fans. We don't get those calls, you know?
So, yeah, Rubentus, eh? So,
Rubentus.
Ibrahimovic steps up. He scores. It's 2-1. You know, again, thinking, all right, that's a setback. It sucks, but we've controlled the game still. Like, let's go. No, not the case. 66th minute. And Kessie ends up tying it for Milan. He gets the ball probably about 30 yards out, maybe just inside of that. He dishes the ball, then continues his run. We have two midfielders in the vicinity. Neither one follows Kessie, okay? So he slips behind those two. Ball goes out wide. Ball goes to Ibrahimovic. Rugani looks like a child trying to play like sports with his older brother that's, 6 or 8 years older than him. He gets completely brushed off, and ball goes back to Kessie. Rugani then leaves Ibrahimovic, takes 2 steps to Kessie, and stops. Completely handcuffs his own man, Bonucci, who, should I add, had nobody to mark at that point and should have stepped up once he saw that Bentancur and Pjanic let Kessie run through. He should have already anticipated that. He didn't. And then I don't know what form of defending he's fucking doing, because he's leaning towards Rugani like he's, and sticks a leg out back. Kessie walks through, and Danilo's just standing there too, it shouldn't be his job at that point, but he's still, cut in, go support. No. Here's a lane. And Yeah, Kessie ends up finding goal here, and Chesney's on the ground, with his arms kind of up. And at that point, as a keeper, I would be livid. I would be losing my absolute mind on that display. It was pathetic to see. Um, Absolutely garbage. A
That's
minute
the point where you go, they've switched off.
here.
What's happened here? Everyone's switched
Well,
off for that.
and this is it. So we're at the 66th minute when this happens. Higuain, he's kind of not been in rhythm, hasn't got a whole lot of involvement in here. He had certain scenarios, he was holding up, but we weren't going through him a lot. I don't think a lot of it was his fault, but there were times where he looked not match fit, which is expected. But 66 minutes in, 61st minute when Milan scores. And this is the time that we always see Costa come in. Why not make that switch again? Why wait longer? I couldn't figure out why he was waiting longer, in this one. And then to be 66th minute, they've just tied 2-2, and we still don't make a change. I think at that point, I don't even care what the change is. You just make a change to try and turn the tide, because the hardest thing in sport is when you lose momentum, is regaining it.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing to do. So to allow that to spiral out of control is fucking baffling to me. He and Sarri is so like predictable for timelines on his subs, and I can't figure out for the life of me why in this one he didn't do it. Were you thinking that when this was happening?
Yeah. Look, about the 55th minute, 60th minute, I noticed Benedetti had no legs.
Yeah.
Bentancur spent. He looked tired too. Pjanic looked spent.
Pjanic, Pjanic even
spent.
more than Bentancur was gassed.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking, all right. And then as you go on, when he subs Rabiot, I'm still scratching my head. But anyway, it just takes too long, I think, to react. And I give credit here to Pioli. I think he spots that and makes the right changes at the right times. So at this point of the game, I'm thinking to myself, because Pioli's made that change. He's brought on Leao, and you know that Leao's going to run at us, right? We've got tired legs around. Like we said, the two midfielders, one of you's got to go, just one.
Yeah.
None of them go. So at that point, you got to get them back on. So
yeah, I just found it bizarre. We had not seen changes, especially after 2-2. And then a minute later, and just another shit show of a goal to allow. Rugani steps in, fouls his man. Leo there runs in, picks up the ball. Rugani gets up, gets back in the play, and then doesn't even take away the fucking shot. Like, he still allows him enough room to shoot. It deflects off Rugani, handcuffs Chesney, goes in, and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, you guys, what the hell is happening? And Rugani is just like, it's mind-blowing, man. It's just so fucking bad. I just can't believe it. And I'm thinking, like, my God, they scored their first at the 61st. It's 67. When is the last time Juve has allowed 3 goals in like 6-7 minutes? I can't think of it.
Part of that's what it felt like. But I went from sitting at the back and relaxing on my couch at 2-0 to going, what the fuck's going on here? Like, what the fuck is actually happening?
Yeah.
Oh no, I sat confused, just going, what is going on, mate?
It's
how we unbelievable. Away. Unbelievable.
So 3-2 now for Milan. 69th minute. Sarri makes 3 changes. Matuidi comes on for Rabiot. Why the fuck do you make that change? He was playing fine. And he still had more legs than arguably the
Yeah,
other.
he felt like he had more to give. Agree.
Costa for Higuain, okay. Ramsey in for Pjanic. Now, yeah, that Rabiot one getting him out was strange to me. And it looked like, yeah, what he was doing was using Bernardeschi and Costa and moving Ronaldo more centrally to do it. But at that point, it's just, you have completely shifted momentum. You never reacted at the time you needed to.
Yeah, it was too late.
And he should, if he reacted at his normal intervals, it would have been proactive because we would have been at a 2-1 scenario. Get Costa's legs, hope he can cause some havoc, and try to just, keep them back. Because the one thing is, if we want to shit on our defenders, that's fine because they were bad. It doesn't help them for us to completely switch off and allow Milan to operate, or any club for that matter. If you're inviting a team to build up and attack, and you're just making it so hard for these guys, let alone Rugani, who is limited, as we know. But not only that, he hasn't played since February 22nd, for God's sakes. He's played 3 matches this entire season prior to this one, and they were against Spal, Brescia, and Genoa. So, like, it was crazy. It is what it is. We had no other options. I wonder how fit Chiellini was. But at 3-2, you see Chiellini on the bench, and he is absolutely pissed and probably embarrassed, because that shit should never happen. Unbelievable. But we make these substitutions. 75th minute, a big save from Szczesny. Again, from allowing like Rebic to just move in and go what he wanted. It was so soft, like, to covering him, and he just easily shielded his man and run in. There's a scramble there. We managed to clear it. That all started because Cuadrado was fucking around in the opposition half. I don't know what the hell he was doing. I don't know, man.
He looked sluggish to me the whole game. Cuadrado looked.
Source
the whole game.
I took heat for saying he was on a shocker against Torino, because just decisions. It was decisions.
Again,
a shocker. Yeah, this one, again, I was like, Cuadrado, what the hell? 77th minute, Rugani, bless the kid's heart for, he gets up, gets a header, nice header, hard load down, nice save by Donnarumma. And then 2 minutes later, we realize Alexandro, who had come in for Cuadrado shortly before that, we realized that he had left his brain at J Medical still, because
sleeping on the bench.
What in the fuck was that? So he's trying to switch field, and he doesn't even come close. It falls right to the Milan player. And at that point, it's painful to watch Rugani, because the second that you see this ball, like, you see Sandro try and play it over, and you see where it's going, it ain't making it to it, and there's a Milan player right there. Close that gap. Step in there and don't allow him. And what does he do? He takes one step and allows 8 to 10 feet between him and the player. The player looks up, makes an easy pass to Rebic, who absolutely throttles that one home. And Bonucci couldn't clean up his gap between. It was an absolute gong show, a fucking gong show. I've never seen anything like it. Rugani.
Who the fuck switches the ball in their own 18-yard box?
Yeah.
Like, why are you trying to switch the ball there? Like, just fucking go up the line or in the middle.
Yeah,
no just switch in the 18-yard. No one, especially when there's a striker giving you high press. Hey, just fucking take that and feel free to have a shot if you like.
It was. It
As
was,
soon as that happened, I did my nana. I was like, "That's it. I'm done. I'm
oh,
done
it was
here."
fucking unbelievable. I'm like, why is he trying? But then, okay, he did it. But you watch Rugani, and he's fucking trembling. He's
Yeah.
trembling. He's like,
Looking at the ball like, "Here it comes."
he takes a step up to the guy, and then he's like shaking and and I'm like, dude, for Christ's sake, get in there. Even if you give up a PK at that time, like, don't make it easy for them. It was absolutely god awful to watch. 4-2 with that one. Um, we get like one more opportunity after that through like Bentancur, but this match ends, and thank God, because I was just done with it. Absolutely pathetic and embarrassing to see Juve collapse like that on a, you know, you get the assistance from Lecce, pulling out the
Yeah,
victory against Lazio, um, essentially being able to put one hand on that trophy, you
big
know,
waste of opportunity.
and it was a huge wasted opportunity. You have a 2-0 lead, okay, and you're in control that entire match up until that point. And then it was that was it. It seemed like they felt it was done, and that was it. And Sarri, his intervals were off. He waited too long. He allowed the momentum to shift. You made a great shout on Pioli, kind of just making some moves that needed to happen. And yeah, part of it, a big part is on the players. Big part is on Sarri as well. I still just question, and it's been something that's followed Juve, is just that flexibility and that tactical flexibility, that game management. Does Sarri really have that game management? You know,
Did
and
you feel? I was gonna say, did you feel a bit like you were watching Napoli a few years ago?
oh
Whereas
man,
he had
everybody,
that, like Napoli would go and win 4-0, and then the next week they'd lose to a random team like we did today. I think the problem with Sarri is, and I don't think we lose that game with Allegri at 2-0. Right? And I was one for getting rid of it. I'm all for the change. And this is not like let's all love Allegri. But you don't lose that game with Allegri. And I think that's where Sarri struggles a bit. Like at 2-0, I get it too. The whole team has like a brain fart.
yeah,
Coach, and I've coached as well in amateurs levels and stuff, but you can't control a brain fart. So I feel for him a bit, but at the same token, I'm the same with you, man. I don't know whether I like him or I don't. I haven't worked Saudi yet. Yeah, I'm
it's
still on the
it's
fence. Well,
it's just really weird, right? Like it just it, it, it's tough because it's an ongoing thing. This is not the first time we've seen Juve just try to go into this management mode, but our management mode with Juve, for whatever reason, is a hell of a lot different than most clubs' management mode. So most clubs will still move the ball with tempo, with pace, effectively, and still move off the ball, you know? And one of the things I noticed against Torino, because again, everybody was loving the 4-1 victory, that scoreline, but
yeah,
our movement off the ball didn't match the level that it was the prior matches leading up to that one. And I go, we're not moving off the ball. We're looking sluggish, you know? And against Milan, it wasn't even strong up until that 60-minute mark. It was okay,
it's
but
decent.
it completely stopped after that Ibrahimovic goal. It was fading like even more and more. And then by that goal, it was done. I have a couple issues like when we want to talk about Sarri. I saw a couple instances where our guys were going down a couple times too easy, and he's throwing his arms up in the air looking for calls from the sideline and almost enabling that kind of behavior where I would rather say, get the fuck up. Let's go, like
Yeah,
fight. Fight. Like
yeah,
stop doing this shit. But he almost enables that behavior. He brings this behavior, and then you think about what was he known for before with Napoli, and it was the excuses, the fucking excuses, list of excuses, right? And then, I see this stuff on the sideline and I'm thinking, man, I don't want to see my coach lobbying for calls all the time. Here and there, when they're excessive, like they should be called, that's fine. But when a guy clearly goes down when he shouldn't, it's like, come on, man. Like, don't be that guy. Don't start trying to make something out of nothing and allow them to feel hard done by when they're, trying to get a call. Bonucci. Bonucci with, and I talked about Szczesny not flipping out, after that Kessie one when he walks in. You know what Bonucci or Buffon's reaction would have been,
Yeah.
You know what Chiellini's reaction would have been. We saw Chiellini steaming on the sideline. What was Bonucci's fucking reaction? It was so limp, like it was just so like, oh yeah, that sucks. Where it's like, hey, you're wearing the fucking armband. Pick these guys up. Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Start, like, let's go. Get fired up. Like, let's pick it up. Like, the momentum has completely swung. So the failure here in this one, we made a mess of it, from coaching and the subs to the players to our leadership. It was a complete disaster from all involved. Sarri's words after, we have played like a world-class 60 minutes. First of all, his interpretation and mine of world-class is completely fucking different, obviously.
Yeah, clear.
Like,
I thought we played okay. I thought we were solid. I didn't win the Champions League playing like that, man. Not that I could.
Yeah, like, we were in control of this match. But to say it was a world-class 60 minutes, okay. Again, I think every now and then there's a different style cigarette in that package on that particular day. But he says, yeah, we have a good 60 minutes. We cannot dwell on this. It happens to other teams, as we've seen with the condensed schedule and all this and whatnot. And I'm thinking, no, we need to fucking dwell on this, because we've heard this way too much already. We've heard way too much that, these guys are used to winning from Sarri. He says that, and like, they need to change their mentality. I want them to step on the throats and stuff like that and kill games. If that's what you want, when something like this happens, you don't brush it off. You literally use it to reinforce what you're trying to push. So I'm not necessarily like, I agree with Sarri. We need to step on throats. We need to kill. And even if we can't get the goals, if you're playing with that type of approach, again, it helps our defense, because all the guys say it. Chiellini has said it. Barzagli has said it. Like, Buffon says it. If you play always properly and advancing the ball, and it's naturally easier to defend. If you're allowing a team to come at you with numbers all the time, steady, obviously it's way harder to deal with. We have to move away from this mentality. Like, we cannot sit back and just allow teams to do it and to completely switch off like this. But to not recognize it from Sarri, like when Pjanic can't move and, Bentancur's fading, Bernardeschi's fading, Higuain has never really got into it. To not make a change when it needed to was a huge, huge letdown. But what do you feel when he says things like that? Are you like, I'm thinking it's time to shut it down and maybe dwell on it for a bit, not just say, oh, forget it, we got another match coming up. You're always going to have another match coming up. But if you don't take the points to reiterate what the fuck can't happen, I have a problem with that. So how do you feel when you hear things like that?
It's an interesting way to. I don't think we're used to that. You look at Conte, would have tore shreds out of everyone. And Allegri would have done the same, not in front of the camera, but he would have been stern with the words. You better brush off losses like that, man. That's, how do I say it in the right way? He just doesn't have any charisma about him. He doesn't have. He says a lot of things. It's like he just says them without really thinking about them, without any repercussions. I get it. Brain fades happen, right? You got to forget it and move on. But you can't just brush it off like that, man. And we don't know. We don't see what happens, obviously, every day to day. Maybe he doesn't brush it off and he addresses it in the change room. I don't know. There seems to be a lack of respect from some of the players. You saw Ronaldo roll his eyes last week.
Yeah.
And they just little things like that. That's why I'm not sure where he's at. I don't know if he's got everything under control and we just have these brain fades. I think the brain fade for me was we scored those 2 goals quick and we thought we were done.
Yeah.
Like I said before, it's hard to become a coach, but when he comes out and says, "Oh well, shit happens," and not here, man.
Yeah.
Shit happens at shit happens there. And this is nothing about being a Juve fan. I mean, we're big Juve fans, but there's a level probably above us that are even more crazy, right? So it's a tough situation, but I don't really like the way Sarri addresses in general. His interviews are.
I agree with you there. I definitely. I don't know, man. It seems that there's gaps there. You hinted at the respect of the players. I feel like there's gaps there in what he says he wants to achieve and what he's doing, what he's allowing. It's not lining up,
Yeah,
and that's the part that's frustrating. But yeah, Higuain took a lot of heat in this one, which I thought was unfair. Not necessarily unfair, but I don't really know. Like, I mean, a lot of other guys coming off, just whatever, not being match fit. And, granted, his brain is, we know how emotional Higuain is, and he's probably got one foot out the door. It was really, really strange with coming back from the pandemic. And then obviously his mother wasn't well. And this guy, it's interesting because Sarri even said about Higuain leading up to this match. And I thought about this too. And I thought, what a weird fucking thing to say before a guy has to start for you.
That's the sort of thing. I mean, I don't fight with anyone in the squad. Just Higuain. What? You don't need to tell. You want to fight with Higuain? Fight with him, man. You don't need to tell me that.
Exactly. It's like
yeah, he tries to say in a way like, "Oh, he's like my son, and we fight." And I get that, but you just don't need to. Just don't say anything.
He literally says, one day you have to coddle him, and the next you have to wring his neck. And I'm thinking,
throw him against the wall.
Why the fuck are you talking about a player as if he's a child? This is a grown man you're talking about. And you've literally made him look about this fucking big to media right before a match where you have no other option to play a center forward. And I'm thinking in my head, like, why the fuck would you say it? And then you think about, how emotional Higuain is. How did he take that? Like, was he like, what the fuck's this guy saying? Like, what an idiot, And then or does he brush it off because he's known Sarri for so long? You never really know. But then you see a performance like that from Higuain, which was very poor, and you're just thinking, like, why not a guy that's so emotional? Hype him up, if you are gonna say something, fucking pump his tires up and get him going.
Yeah.
But
he's
to
ready.
come out,
He's running hard. You don't say, "Oh, sometimes I want to throw him against the wall."
Yeah, like I'm just like, what? And again, it just falls in line with Sarri. And then like you think about it, it's really, really strange. It's really, really strange. But we see these things all the time. And again, you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's like he says these fucking things like as if he's got to look back all the time and think, oh shit, yeah, that was probably not what I meant to say, or not how I wanted to put it. Like
when we lost to Napoli, and he said, "Oh well, if we lose to Napoli, like it was okay with him or whatever he said at that time. I was like,
Oh yeah, when
you
he's like, it's
say
okay.
that to your mother at home. You can say that to your friends. Don't say that to the
I
media,
know.
man. Like, what are you doing?
It's
He's just
crazy, man.
lining himself up for bullets. It's like craziness, man.
Yeah, the best thing that could probably happen to him is if he lost his voice for a bit, because it's just crazy some of the shit he says. Um, Bonucci, Bonucci, a fraud. Uh, you know, that's been huge since this match and all this. And I know fans just get so frustrated and whatnot. He was not good. I will not sugarcoat it. I praised him on the last episode just because of what he has done. I still have the same sentiments in regards to dealing with young players integrating and without Chiellini, our true captain, being out. He's done a great job. This guy's played an absurd amount of minutes. Um, the one thing is, though, that nobody's really touched on, and I touched on steady the whole time while he's getting attacked. I'm not protecting Bonucci. I'm speaking to the importance of center back partnerships. Okay. Because when you watch Rugani and you watch Bonucci, you simply cannot have a partnership. And we had no options. This is the thing. There was no other option we could do but play Bonucci and Rugani. But if you watch these guys, and even if you look back to other times they've been partnered together, they both are the sit back defenders. Okay. They are not that aggressive, in your face, press, push back style defender. Who is? Chiellini, De Ligt. Those guys are. Demiral, even when he was in.
Yeah.
This is why that works, and it allows Bonucci to be who he is. But now all of a sudden, if you have two center backs that are both standoff and want to play off their man, what do? You have two center backs allowing a team to operate and a lot of space. It is not optimal. When you combine that with a team that is completely switched off and allowing pressure, you have a recipe for exactly what happened, which is fucking disaster. But I cannot say enough about how important it is for partnerships. Look at the game. How often have you seen, it's happened quite a bit, where you see a center back where you think, oh my God, this guy, like, he's okay. He's not, whatever, nothing big deal. But when he's paired with somebody that matches the styles up perfect, all of a sudden you have an incredible tandem where you're thinking, holy man, this guy probably isn't much on his own, but when you get the partnership right, it's huge. So when people want to say Bonucci's carried by Chiellini, he's carried by, you can say that, but is it really carrying, or is it the partnership? You're still looking at individually, but man, I cannot speak enough about center back partnerships and it needing to make sense. But I want to get your take on that, with everybody throwing up Bonucci being a fraud.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with what you said. Bonucci needs a tough guy next to him. If he's got that tough guy, it gives him more space to thread the balls that he threads. Granted, it's been a while since he's done one of those ripper balls that he's done, but if we go back and you look at the BBC, without Bazzali and Chiellini doing the tough work, he can't lay those balls that he was giving. Back then, he was giving some ripper balls, some assists, and almost being, behind Pirlo, another CDM amongst those two, playing that role. So he's defensively, he has weaknesses. But as you said, you add two players with the same weakness where they're not prepared to step on the guy and step up to the ball. And they just want to keep jockeying back, and letting guys dribble at them. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
At some point, and the problem is too, like, there's the talk would be the same. It's not like someone would be saying, like, as a Chiellini, for example, might tell him this, go, step on that player, I've got this guy. It's probably not happening as much there with Bonucci because he's not really going to tell him to step. Lugani's not going to. It's like two scared kittens, man, and it's quite frustrating. But is he a fraud? I say no. I think Bonucci still adds some value to Juve. I think he's done a good job filling in for Chiellini. Um, Days like today, he needs to step up more. You know, like you said, at 2-0, you got to step up and say something, get people razzed up, something. We don't see that from him. Is he a natural born leader? I don't know. Maybe he wears the armband purely because that's how they do it at Juve. Whoever's got the most appearances gets the armband. But I definitely don't think he's a fraud. I just think, like you said, you need a yin and a yang. And if he's got a tough guy next to him, he can be a decent player in that role. But if he doesn't have that tough guy, he struggles. He struggles.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can't help but feel that way watching these guys. I just saw both of them doing the exact same thing, and I'm like, this is just it's terrible, you know. And this is not, again, to protect Bonucci. Like, he had a piss poor game after that moment when the whole team shut off, right? So that's why I say, like, there's multiple factors. Delict, just proving how valuable he really is now
Yeah.
to Juve as well.
Um,
You know, the thing is,
So think of it as a striker, right? Think of it this way: as a striker, if you can continually run at players and know they're not going to chop you, they're not going to hit you, you're not going to get that bump. You're just going to keep running at them and keep shooting till you score. Whereas you got Chiellini or De Ligt that come in, you might turn Bonucci that one time, right? But then you want to go the other way and you get the bang. You're going to think about it twice. Whereas this morning, you got to turn any way you wanted to, mate.
yeah, exactly.
They're letting you turn and they're letting you run at them. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
yeah.
So Delict obviously is back now. Suspension's over. Dybala's back. Um, what do you do at the back? What do you do at the back if Chiellini's fit? Do you go Delict Chiellini versus Atalanta if he's fit? Or, like, this is the tough one because, you know, do you sit Bonucci to, if you can, to kind of say, like, hey, it's time to, like, pick it up or whatnot? He might need the rest more than anybody, even though they came back from the pandemic break or whatnot. But this is a tough one. Do you start to rely on Chiellini's leadership and go that way, like, now the captain's back, and get that kind of boost? But again,
Tough one.
Chiellini's got such a risk factor for injuries, and he's just back. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
it's such an easy call.
Nah, it's not an easy call. And I tend to go Bonucci stays in, and I tend to put Delict. But Delict and Bonucci have done well together, as you said
Yeah,
before. They've been
that
a decent pairing, right? I go back to that, especially against Atalanta. We've got 7 games left. Atalanta's going to be key to this title race. A lot of people calling it over. I don't think it is just yet.
it's not over just yet. No, there's still some key matchups. We've got a tricky 3 back to back because you got Atalanta, Sassuolo, and then Lazio.
Yeah.
These are critical. The Atalanta and Lazio matches, extremely critical. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, I don't think this decision, as far as the defenders and which go, is an easy one. Bonucci and Delict have been a great partnership. Um, you know, the leadership is lagging though, so it might be an argument to get Chiellini in, get the rightful captain back in just as a pickup. Maybe show Bonucci, hey, time to get back to where you need to be, But does that allow him to dwell on his mistakes and think, oh shit, now I'm sitting or whatnot? Like, do you create this, like, domino effect, or is his confidence maybe shot after this Milan one, that, and then the fear of Atlanta and such a powerhouse coming in as far as goals are concerned? This is not an easy decision.
Nah, not easy at all. The thing, I think with Chiellini, I'd be saving him. We got bigger games ahead, Champions League coming. I think he needs a rest. And I think it'd be really harsh to put Chiellini in against Atalanta. They're a team that play with such rhythm and movement that if to put him in fresh first game, Atalanta, for me,
Yeah,
I think
see, that's a great shout too, Rob.
a bit more secure. Yeah, because Atalanta can move that ball, man. That game is going to be hectic.
Oh,
Hectic.
yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great show too, because Yeah, you don't want Chiellini coming back in, and this is what you got to deal with right out of the gate, right? So that's a great show too. Rabiot, Adrian Rabiot. Um, you know, Rabiot's a funny one because we saw him great at preseason. Never really amounted. You had a lot of Juventinians ragging on him throughout the season. I always said, I would honestly pick Ramsey to stay ahead of Rabiot based on what we were seeing. Um, as far as what it came to the pitch with and Ramsey at Mitsala. Um, you know, now with Adrian Rabiot, he's been putting in great matches. In this particular one, I'd actually say he was our best player this
Man
particular
of the
match. I'd probably say
yeah,
if I had to give man, and it's tough in like a 4-2 defeat to really where everybody let off and whatnot, but I'd probably say this was probably his match for man of the match. Uh, but yeah, he's been linked with rumors going away. I was choosing Ramsey based off his play at Metzala, but now Ramsey again limited on minutes, what he can do and whatnot, and Rabiot's showing with continuity that what he can do, and it's getting better and better. Um, yeah, I has Rabiot maybe secured a spot or not just yet? What do you think? Would you move him? Does it depend on the deal, or what are your thoughts there with Rabiot?
it's a tough one. It depends on the deal. But if you're going to lose Rabiot and bring in a Pogba or a, SMS, I'd get rid of him,
Yeah,
But in saying that, I think Rabiot needs time. He had a lot of time out of the game in France. He didn't play for 7 months and then came to us injured as well. He has had some injury time off. But in PSG, and I know we could talk about the league and the level of it, but he did steal Matuidi's spot and he did play there as a register and on the left. You can't be that bad if you take him Matuidi's spot, especially at that time. France, powerhouse, went on and won a few things recently. So he's definitely got skill and talent. Can we unleash it? In the last few weeks, it seems we can. I'd get rid of him only on the fact if you're going to bring in some real quality, but I think he could still have a good role to play. I'd like to see another season of him, personally.
yeah,
I think on that left he can be damaging, and also if we're going to have Bentancur as the new Pjanic, want to improve Pjanic, we've also got Rabiot can back him up, so that might leave us options to look for more attacking midfielders than maybe going to look for Jorginho as an example to come in and fill that role. Just a thought, but I'd like to see a little bit more of Rabiot. I think he's got a lot to prove in the next few games, especially I'd love to see him stretch it out now and go to the end of the season, Champions League and whatnot, and finish it off. And I think that's where you've got to make the call at that point. End of the year, I don't think we can judge him yet.
yeah. I think it's tough with what we were getting for quite some time this season. It
Yeah,
was easy to say like, yeah, like use them as part of a deal if
yeah.
you had to. You know, Ramsey for me is just like the guy's quality, no doubt. You know, but he's I found this last instance really, really frustrating where we come back from pandemic break, and he can't play. Like you just had how much time? Like, how are you not fit? Like, what happened?
Yeah,
Like, you got injured in training or whatnot when we just come back. Those weren't even full training sessions because we were just back from pandemic. So it's like if you
made a glass.
can't if you can't handle that, like this,
Yeah,
this is now like the frustration. But like as far as quality goes on the pitch, if we had to, I'd probably pick. I was picking Ramsey ahead of Rabiot as far as the quality on the pitch
100%,
goes.
especially on the performance.
Yeah, but now when you're looking at you know durability in the legs and whatnot, and man, and just this string of performances here where Rabiot's proved so quality, it's a tough one. But the other thing is too, you know, again, how much is truly there because we're used to such a far less technical player in Blaise Matuidi. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like the bar was never really like up here, you know, like I mean, shit, if you could dribble one guy, you've got Matuidi kind of under wraps or as far as technical ability goes, right? Uh, if you can hit a couple long passes here and there, it's like, okay, great. So it wasn't set high. And that's why I think it's very important. Like you said, it depends what we're going after, you know. And Jorginho being one of the links, if Jorginho is a guy that's going to be coming in, then honestly, I think it makes sense to keep Rabiot because he's going to be on that left.
I was
Because
just
then you have Bentancur.
going to trade there, you know. Would you use
Yeah,
him in a trade for that?
yeah, because then
So,
Bentancur is going to be an option when Jorginho's not in the lineup, and Arthur will occupy the right side. And you know, in that sense, you got to keep Rabiot. Ramsey, you know, he has only shown us what he can do out of that Metsala spot. But again, he would then become the odd man out because right side seems going to go straight to Arthur immediately. Ramsey has only looked his strongest on that right side. And I don't know if that has to do with the chemistry of the back and the forward on that specific side when he's playing there. You know, I haven't really dug deep into that or whatnot. But yeah, it's an interesting scenario. And it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. But Rabiot, man, he might change. He might alter the path of our mercado if this keeps up. Because if all of a sudden he's doing that and they, you know, get this feeling that he can't go, it might change what Juve actually does. So it'll be interesting to keep seeing that. Um, let's get to transfers in general. You know, we obviously got Jorginho out there. You've got Lacazette has been brought up recently. That's a no from me. uh, you've
no,
got
you,
you've got Arcadius Milik, who apparently has terms agreed, and now it's just a matter of dealing with Napoli. Um, Milinkovic Savic, it's said that Lazio is willing to play with the pricing, but that's not going to be the case when Juve's on the other end of the phone. We know that.
yeah.
So, you know, Milinkovic Savic, I don't see it. I think this is the time, and I know how many Juventini are against it, but I think Pogba's got to be the play, man. When it comes to forwards, here's my thing. It's been my theory, and I still hold true to it. If you don't agree in Milik, it has to be somebody that's willing to accept lower minutes because Dybala is getting into a rhythm there. Centrally, if we get into a spot now where all of a sudden we move him back out to the right, in a sense, again, we are not building around Dybala and we are just trying to fit him in again. And Cristiano Ronaldo's time at Juve will come to an end. So you have to build around Dybala. So I wouldn't expect this high caliber starting forward. I would be looking for an option that would be satisfied with less minutes. Milik kind of fits that mold. The only thing is, it is not right, in my opinion, to be using Bernardeschi in that deal. There's better deals out there that we can have for Bernardeschi, I feel personally.
Yeah.
That price may not be the best for Milik, but that's my only thing. And, you know, there's been shouts for Cavani on a free, but again, will Cavani just come and be second fiddle or do that? I don't see it. And he'll probably want yeah, and he'll probably want a really healthy wage, you know? So I think like that Milik one just makes sense. And again, there's rumors of the youngster Pinamonte in behind. Sure,
Yeah.
that's fine too. But as far as the midfield goes, if Jorginho comes, I mean, I get it. There's a lot of people saying that Arthur could also play that spot, that deep line playmaker. So if you had him and Bentancur to rotate, again, I just think like Man U almost has to move Pogba this season because he will be on a free the next. And if he doesn't move this Mercado, you literally give yourself the January window to make the deal done. And we all know that caliber, that type of deal in January is next to impossible to make. He has to move this Mercado. And you get him discounted. And again, I don't see a player in that range that Man U's kind of handcuffed in dealing. You're not going to get that. Milinkovic-Savic is going to be huge, huge money for us.
But if you had to spend, what do you reckon you'd spend on Higuain? 100?
Yeah.
Would you spend by SMS instead?
Yeah, and De Bruyne won't happen. It can be huge financially. So I just think it's got to be there. But I want to get your thoughts on all these players and what you think, what you'd like to see. Like, what are your thoughts with these links and whatnot?
It's a tough one. Pogba, if we had to spend 100 mil on Pogba, I'd rather give the 100 mil to Lazio, to be honest. I haven't watched heaps of Pogba, but what I've seen, he seems very lazy in the EPL, man. He doesn't seem, granted the last few weeks, he seems to be turning it on. Whether that's he doesn't want to be at Man U, whether Juve, he can come back and be Pogba of old, I'm not sure. But if I had to spend money on one or the other, I'd probably spend that 100 mil on SMS, personally.
Yeah.
Up front, Milik, it's a tough one because I get what you're saying about Dybala. And I love Dybala. And in a 4-3-3, Dybala doesn't fit unless he plays false nine. That's the only place he can play. But does he lack a bit of power and a bit of height maybe for that position? It's one of those things, you know. But if you're going to spend 50 on Milik, would you not go spend another 20, which these clubs these days is $20, right? Would you not spend 70, get Haaland on that release clause? It's another option, right?
Well,
but then, like you said, building around Dybala, he can't play wide, which comes again. I guess it depends on how Sarri wants to set up. But if he's true to his way and plays 4-3-3, Dybala's got to be like the Mertens, yeah? He's got to be able to take that position, which I think he has this year. But Ronaldo won't be there forever. They're looking at more wingers. But I find that we got so many wingers, man. My mate, left and right backs, 100%. That midfield, and then we need a different type of striker. I wouldn't mind seeing like a Haaland come in, but it's tough. It's tough.
So
you don't know what they.
Yeah, and Holanda, like it seems, from the rumors and whatnot, the rumors are that will be the play once the time comes, right? But it'll be interesting to see. Like, there's a lot of different ways you could do it, but yeah, I just think like Haaland would be great. And the other thing is too, this 4-3-3 is going to be strict with Sarri. I don't think there'll be any wavering, but yeah, like I mean, Dybala would be also fantastic paired up in a two-man front, being that second striker. That's ultimate for Dybala. We saw it with him and Higuain. But I don't think we'll get that again. And that's where it becomes tough. And then it's like, man, it's just like pick your poison because like, do you want to push him out wide and try and deal with that all over again? Or do you just get somebody in behind him? And when we look at our club, we have multiple roles to fill. And that's why I think if we go big for that starter guy, up front, eventually getting Haaland would probably be great. But then is Dybala going to be okay being in a rotation there? I don't see it. So it's really something's going to have to give sooner or later.
Yeah. The thing is, for me, Dybala is like a true number 10, man. He's a number 10. The way he plays, he's a number 10. And then when you play with a false 9, there is no number 10. So it's a conundrum. But if you bring in Haaland, let's say, and Ronaldo were to go, as you said before, he's getting older, maybe then you're playing with two strikers up front. But like you said, then Sarri ain't moving, man. He's playing 4-3-3. So it's a real catch-22. I think Dybala's probably, for me, in top 5-10 in the world as a young striker. And I wouldn't want to see us lose that just so we can play 4-3-3 and keep Ronaldo happy at 37 years of age now, whatever
Yeah.
it is. So it's a catch-22, man.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to see what develops. Real quick before we wrap up, I always love hearing Juventini's comments after matches and whatnot. This particular one, I knew was going to be interesting to say the least. But I'm going to start from the bottom up just to get people's thoughts. And Baleo Pizza here says, thoughts on potential Jorginho signing. I would trade Scudetto chances today for him not to be at Juve next season. We don't need an old, slow regista when Bonucci can play that role from further back, in my opinion. Huge opportunity cost to not get younger in midfield. Thank you. Are you that strong on Jorginho not coming to Juve?
Me, no. At the end of the day, Jorginho works for Sarri, right? It fits. It's two peas in a pod. What's he now? 28.
I believe he's 28. Yeah, I'm okay with like Jorginho. I don't think he's that bad as a lot of people make him out to be. Like, I mean, even with the Azzurri, I think he plays really good in that three-man middle with Barella and Verratti. Verratti though would be my guy. Would love it, but yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't be that strongly opposed to Jorginho. Like I said, I think it just alters the rest of the Mercado and what we do. But I mean, everybody's got their own thoughts and opinions.
Well, he's done pretty well at Chelsea, eh? Credit to him. Since Sarri's left, he's done well at Chelsea. They give him these praises at Chelsea. So
yeah,
is he that bad? We know it works. It works. It worked at Chelsea. It worked at Napoli. It'll work at Juve.
Yeah.
BLM
Brute writes in comment, I can't get Rugani off the team fast enough. Question, who can we trick into buying Rugani? I pretty much just think at this point you might end up having to pay a club to take him from us. Yeah, Juve Loco writes in, Milan had too much energy for Juve tonight. I only wish we could clone Bentancur and play 3 Bentancurs across the midfield. Danilo, Rugani, Matuidi, gotta go. Disgraceful result, but the Scudetto is definitely ours this season. I hope so. Bentancur's been great, but even in this one, his legs were catching up to him. But he has been great. I love watching the growth. I'm a big fan. Rocco Fasano writes in, here's a question. Up 2-0. What the heck happened? I sent basically an emoji of somebody falling asleep at his desk and falling over. That's exactly what happened. We just fell asleep and crumbled. Let's see here. Yeah, a lot of Rugani stuff. How in the hell do we sell Rugani? Luis DeVito. Thoughts on Bonucci we touched on. Tactical and formation change. And then from Iskander. So tactical and formation change. I just don't think we'll see it, to be honest. And even tactically, I think honestly, and I've said it early this season, and it seems to be still playing true. The hardest thing Sarri will have to face is changing the mentality. This team has been playing with the same core for so long that is used to finding leads and hanging on. And you're trying to change that, and they're just not used to it. You know, there's these mental lapses where they want to go into a management mode. And again, when you factor in our management mode is so broken, like we just stop moving. We still stop doing the things you still need to do, whether you're in management mode or not. Like, you want to see a game through, that's fine. You still got to move to space and be that option for the ball. But we just want to like hold the ball and nobody moves and we'll just pass it around. Well, eventually the other team's going to just take it, and because you still got to move, and we just don't. when we go into management mode, our turnovers go through the roof.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite of what you need to happen when you're in management mode. So tactical and formationally, again, I think it's the mentality is the biggest thing, that approach
Yeah.
and that mindset, right?
Yeah.
And James Martino writes in, today reminded me of when we blew it versus United. And both came after over-the-top goals from Ronaldo. Oh, so that might be the key. No more over-the-tops to Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all these, everybody, firing at Bonucci and Rugani and whatnot. They were brutal, but the pairing doesn't work. It's just, I hope we can just move on. Hopefully we get it right for Atalanta. That is going to be a huge, huge matchup. Without question, Dybala and De Ligt play. Absolutely have to. And in the middle, my final question to you as we get towards the end of this episode, do you continue with Pjanic in that role? Because I've said he's already got the done deal. Let's move with Bentancur. I know Ramsey's limited for minutes, but I can't continue to deal with the Pjanic letdowns. So what are your thoughts on that as we wrap up?
I guess the issue is who plays on the left and right if you put Bentancur in the centre. Rabiot, yeah, left. Who do you play on the right? Ideally, Ramsey, yeah. He's going to lift that quality, but is he going to get through a match? Is he going to get injured? You got Matuidi. I don't know if that's balanced. So it's a tough one. Do you continue with Pjanic? I don't know, man. It's a catch-22 once again. Pjanic has been. It's sad the decline he's had. And I think Allegri just beat any sort of attacking motion out of the guy, man. He just goes left or right. He's had some minutes where he's been okay. It's a tough one because then you got Bentancur and Rabiot giving us that drive at the moment and those young legs. And I don't know. I'd love to see Benta, Rabiot, and Ramsey.
Yeah, that's what we want to see. And again, it's the minutes. How many minutes can Ramsey take? But then it just creates a nightmare. But what if we did it so that you used Ramsey at the start, and then limit his minutes and then maybe use Pjanic? I understand we have to use Pjanic. We can't just not use him, but use him to give guys breaks. You know what I mean? I just want to see him out of there from the start because I want to shift to this Bentancur adaptation in there and integration and get rid of this lackadaisical, slow, style. I need guys that are driven, that are going, right? So Pjanic, I just like to see him offering rest and whatnot. And you talk about Ramsey too, and if the minutes aren't there, it's not even like you can pull somebody else. Like if you want to pull Bernardeschi back, who's capable of playing in there, well, shit, then you've got Costa up there from the start. He's not as effective as a starter. And then who's your sub? And then Cuadrado's at right back, so you move him up, and then guess what? Who the hell's playing at the back for you? So the only way you really make it work is using Matuidi at left back. You use Matuidi at left back, and then you have Danilo on right so that you can put Cuadrado up in order to make all this work. And that's just crazy. And that's why I say when we really want to go at Sarri, he's a little bit limited, to say the least, as far as what he's been given too. So I still say, I'm still critical of his man management, what he allows, what he enables as far as attitude goes and whatnot. But he is also pretty limited. He should have had an identity for this club long before this, though, and we still truly haven't found an identity. And it's frustrating. But this is a tough situation just when you really break it down and look at the big picture. it's challenging. It's a challenging one, and it'll be interesting to see. This Mercato will be huge. I've been saying it for a while now. This will be a big one for Juve to see what we can pull off. But any final thoughts on kind of that before we get into the final segment?
Yeah, look, at the start, look, Sarri plays a 4-3-3. He doesn't have the tools. He did try to change, and that didn't work. So he's reverted back now. He's probably better off just live or die by that sword. I think the Mercato, though, for me, I'd like to see. I think we need to clean out. I'll be honest with you. It's great to have players that have won a lot and know how to win, but you need some guys that want to win but haven't quite got there to have that hunger, that energy. It kind of feels like this morning, right? We scored 2 goals. We go, it's okay. We got Ronaldo, Dybala. If they score one, we'll score another one. It's starting to feel that way where we need some new drive, some new passion, some new, fresh approach to it. You know, guys on my Twitter, okay, you won World Cups and you won World Cups. That's great. But we're time now for a clean out, man. We're time now.
Oh,
get some youth.
Man, I can't tell you how infuriating it is to watch Matuidi make the same errors over and over and just be, argued with saying he's a World Cup winner. Fucking Sami Khedira is too.
Exactly.
It is what it is. It doesn't mean that their time just doesn't need to end at whatever point because they've won a World Cup. Like it is what it is. That holds no bearing. I mean, it's crazy to me. It's crazy. He does his job well, but it's one aspect of the complete job. That's the best way I could put it for Matuidi. When it comes to work rate and, fighting for the balls, that's great. He does that great. But he severely lacks in technical ability, passing, shooting. Like it's just everything else.
It's all right. Sarri has technical, quick-moving midfielders. We don't have them. We've got Greedy, and the list goes on and on, man. They're either made of glass and they can break any second, or they just can't keep up. You've just got Benta, and now Rabiot seems to be showing a bit of that, moving that ball a bit better. Other than that, and that's your engine.
Yeah.
No engine, the car.
You betcha. The business, it comes down to the business, man. The business got to be better. And that's why I say, like, this Mercado is going to be big, big, big. So, yeah. Lose 4-2 to Milan. Got Atalanta coming up. Big, big key match. We still hold 7 points clear, which thankfully, because of Lecce there. What do you expect out of the Atalanta match? If we just give a quick little preview, this team is in form. I think they're going on 9 wins in a row. They have scored an insane amount of goals. And they're so fun to watch. They're in 4th place. They're 1 point behind Merda for 3rd. Man, I wouldn't be surprised seeing them finish 2nd even. If Lazio continues with the letdowns. Atalanta could easily be in 2nd. This will be a tough one, man. They have a goal differential of plus 44. They're, like I said, I think 9 wins in a row now. 83 goals for this season. They've allowed 39. But yeah, they've scored 83. For reference, Juve has scored 65. Lazio have scored 67. This is just a fun team to watch. Every time I watch Atalanta, it's entertaining. The last match, not so much. I think they pulled it out 1-0, but there was some rotation in there, obviously. What do you think of this one? How do you think it's going to play out real quick if we just give a quick prediction expectation there?
It's going to be a real tough game. I think this one's probably the most dangerous game in the run home. Having not beaten Milan, taking those 3 points, if we lose this one at Atalanta, it's 2 in a row. I think we're up for a tough game. And just going on midfielders, Darun, man. I'd take him any day. I'll let him have the centre.
There you go.
watched the room from Atalanta. He's amazing in that holding role, man, where he sits. So he's a great player. I think we're up for a real tough match. Like you said, Atalanta just score. They score goals for fun. There's no pressure. They've pretty much secured the Champions League now, and I think they'll press on to finish second. I really do. So I'm back to that, like how I was this week. I think we
Yeah.
can win. We're not
Yeah.
100% sure, which has kind of been like the year, right? It's always
Yeah.
been like that.
I think if I look at this, if anything, the one thing, no matter how Jekyll and Hyde Juve is, I always feel when it comes to those tough ones that they kind of pull it in, like reel it in and get the shit together.
Yeah,
And I think maybe this letdown would maybe spark a little more in this matchup, because I think if we got 10 points clear with this match coming up, I don't necessarily know if we go in as hard as we need to, or you know what I mean. Like I think it'd be
yeah.
I
We
think
definitely
it'd be easier to see a letdown versus Atalanta. But I think given the circumstances, De Ligt coming back, Dybala coming back after what happened, and just the ability to always kind of be in there for the big matchups. Yeah, it's still going to be hard, still going to be a dogfight, but I think, I don't think we drop it. I think maybe a draw. If
yeah.
anything, maybe like a 2-2 draw. But I don't see us dropping this one. Hopefully we'll see what ends up happening, but be interesting. Prized possession. That's our final segment on the 100th episode. Just to try and make things a little fun, because it's always challenging when we go over losses, because we hate them and we're used to winning. But Rob, love for you to share a Juventus prize possession that you have.
Prize possession is a Del Piero signed shirt. It's a pretty funny story, and my mates will know the story, and they're probably already laughing thinking about it. So we went to, it was Adelaide United in Sydney. This is when DP played at Sydney, and we'd had a few beers at the game. Anyway, DP played, it was good. We watched him, we cheered him. He's come along and he's signed my shirt. I was pretty chuffed, and I've sort of, without really thinking about it, just rubbed the top of his head, man. Like I've just got the head rub on Del Piero, right? So my mates are like, fuck. And DP turns to me, right? He's pretty polite, and he goes, hey, man, don't touch me. I go, sorry, man. Like, that's okay. Right? So that is probably the pride possession, but just a funny story, man. Like, who rubs his head, man? He's a god.
That is so funny, man.
I touched Del Piero. New boys didn't. Like, I have the god on my hand for the rest of my life. So funny story, man. But yeah, meeting him, I got he signed my Juve type. He was a great bloke. He's also signed my 2006 Italia Del Piero shirt as well on the back of his. So I've got his very last Juventus shirt and his most famous, obviously, Italia jersey. So definitely my pride possessions, man.
That
I
is
love him.
awesome, man. That's a great story. Just that drop. Oh man, that's funny. And so he turns to you. He says, "Hey man, don't touch me," but like in an aggressive way, or just that cool kind of like, "Hey man."
It was kind of like borderline. The eyes were like, I could kill you, but I'll let you off sort of thing. It was like borderline, man. It was
Oh,
borderline. Am I in trouble here? Like, but he was cool, man. He was like, he just sort of chuckled a bit after and then just kept signing some autographs. So I think it just surprised him, man. And like, my mate's like, what were you thinking? I'm like, I don't know, man. He was just there. He just was playing. Like, I just wanted to hug him or something. Like, so I just rubbed his head. And they're like, dude, you can't do that. I was like, hey, man.
that's
And
so
I
good.
went to full stadium of people, right? So
I can
most
see him
people
just turning to you and you having that look like, I don't even know why I did it. Like he's gonna be pissed, and I don't even know why I did it. That's so good, man. That's awesome.
man, too excited. So
That's a great story. Thanks for sharing, man. And that's cool that you got those jerseys signed. The Italia one for sure too. Like epic, man. So thanks again, man, for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. It's been uh, great for all the support as well. This is the 100th episode, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, checking it out, all the support. And yeah, as always, I mean, you guys, this is open to any and all Juventini, and reach out and we'll get you a spot on. Rob, thanks again. We'll definitely do it again. And everybody else, we'll talk after Atalanta, and hopefully we can right the ship and get back to winning ways. As always, Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Ciao.
What's you? Yeah.